It's really important.
And you know, we get some meetings anywhere from 10 to 50 people, and it's usually the people who are really concerned about their neighborhoods.
That's correct.
And they'll show up at a National Night Out.
They will show up en masse.
En masse. Who sponsors National Night Out?
Target this year. There's a national sponsor, and Target this year is the actual national.
Now, who went and got Target for the national government? Or
you know, every year we have a new person in charge of the National Night Out, since it is overwhelming. It's really a lot of work. And Denise Lowe this year was the coordinator of the National Night Out program, and hats off to her.
And she helped coordinate a lot of the sponsors as well as the city response.
Absolutely.
And then, Dennis, if anyone wants more information on National Night Out, who can they call?
They can call Denise Lowe, 820-4000. They can call myself, Vito Tropiano, 370-9727, or 884-1000, and we can supply them whatever information they need.
Dennis, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us on the show this evening.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday on National Night Out.
I'll be there.
Do we have any helicopters coming in there?
No, because of the density of the area, we weren't able to get that in there. It's just too small of an area. We tried. We wanted to have the people repelling off the helicopter. We have the flight areas where it just wouldn't work. So perhaps next year we can think of someplace.
We had them in the Droder Field.
Droder Field. Right? Yes, a little bigger, a little less dense, and makes it much easier for the
This will be a lot more people in a smaller spot.
Absolutely.
But it'll be fun.
Okay.
For Dennis Kabarli and National Night Out, which is Tuesday of this week, please stay with us after these messages, where I'll be joined by Battalion Chief Curtis Merrill talking about fire prevention safety here in the city of Elizabeth. Welcome back to our city. For the second half of this evening's show, I am pleased to be joined by Battalion Chief Curtis Merrill, and we're going to talk about summer fire prevention in your home and in your neighborhood and what can be done. Some safety tips, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, Mayor, I've been on the department 12 years, and I've worked at various firehouses throughout the city prior to getting promoted and getting sent to fire headquarters and working in a fire prevention bureau.
Now, 12 years and you're the rank of battalion chief. So you probably hit the promotion exams just right?
Yeah, that's correct. I was very fortunate, very fortunate. Thankfully, I had an administration that likes to promote, so everything's gone well.
Now, you're born and raised here, right? You're an Elizabeth
yes,
kid?
Sir. Yes, sir.
In the Bayway section? Or?
Actually, I grew up with my parents over on Westminster Ave for a while, stayed in some apartments, and then eventually my folks got older and they moved out.
Okay. So, Curtis, tell us about the summer months and the fire hazards that can exist here in the summer.
Well, there's many fire hazards that can exist, but I guess due to the fact that summer is barbecue season, we'll start with barbecue safety. One of the best fire prevention tips I can give the residents and yourself is when dealing with any kind of barbecues, make sure that your barbecue grill is not more than 10 feet closer to your house, because barbecue grills right alongside the home are a very common cause of fire. So I want to recommend to everybody, keep them at least 10 feet away from any kind of portion of your home and also out of exit ways.
Mine's about 40 feet. It's all the way in the back of the yard.
Excellent. That's a great practice to have. And if you're using a gas barbecue grill, like a propane style, make sure that you check your regulators, your hoses, and your connections on the grill itself prior to lighting it. If you're using a charcoal grill, make sure that once you're done cooking your food that you firmly place the lid back on the grill and close all the air vents to make sure that it doesn't cook unattended. You know, we never want to leave any kind of cooking or heating utensils outside the home unattended for long periods of time. And it's very important also, if you have a gas grill, never store them on balconies, on apartments, or in a garage. You always want them to be outside of the home and covered, but away from the home in case there's a fire, so it doesn't add to the fire hazards.
There's a lot of people keep them on balconies, though.
Yes, they do. We're trying to discourage that as much as possible. That's why I figured it was a good thing to mention today. If they have the space, we would really prefer if they'd put them someplace away from their home.
What else?
Well, another good tip is, due to the summer months, a lot of people play with fireworks. We don't recommend that either. Fireworks, even though people have used them in the past, during holidays, it's a very dangerous practice. And the fire department and myself, we feel that the best way to enjoy fireworks is when the City of Elizabeth holds them every year. down at the waterfront area, and when they're supervised by the fire department. And anybody who's ever been there will tell you it's really a spectacular show, and it's a safe way for everyone to enjoy fireworks without adding to the chances of causing a fire or getting a serious injury.
Now, I went to a picnic the other day, and I saw these kids waving these sparklers. Dangerous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unfortunately, sparklers, they look great, but you're basically walking around with a live ignition source, depending on if they drop the sparkler, and besides getting a burn to their hands or their face, kids like to twirl them around and throw them, up in the air. So we don't recommend that, because depending on where they fall, the children will think that they're out, but they burn and they radiate for quite a while. So they increase the chances of starting a fire, especially if the kids are running around and they go to a different location. So we really don't recommend any type of hand fireworks. We would like to see everybody enjoy what the city presents in a controlled, professional manner.
And how come parents let their kids play with these sparklers and everything else?
I don't know. I think it's tradition mostly, but as times are increasing, as time goes by, people are realizing that fires start very easily. Nobody wants a fire in their home. Almost all of them are accidental. And they're starting to increase their awareness with regard to fireworks and say, it's really not worth it. We can get all the fun going down on the 4th of July to see the presentation by the city without any risk of causing a fire to our property or hurting our children.
And Chief, these are good tips. What else can we do to be safe during the summer?
One thing that comes to mind, Mayor, is open hydrants. Often with children, we hear stories every year of children getting hurt or hit by cars when they're playing in the water that's provided by an open fire hydrant. Unfortunately, this takes place in the street, and it increases their chances of children getting hit by a car. And we never want to have any children playing in the street for any reason. But with regard to open hydrants, it's a very dangerous practice. If the children want to stay cool and have some fun, I remember when we were kids, what we used to do is we'd have a lawn sprinkler or a garden hose in the backyard over the clothesline, and we could run around and cool off that way without having the hazards of being in the street. In addition to that, I think a great way for children to stay cool this time of year is going to one of our city parks that have the water spray fountains. Many parks throughout our city, thanks to you, have water spray fountains installed, and that's a win-win situation for kids, because not only can all their friends play together at the same time instead of 2 or 3 at a hydrant, but they can play in the safety of a park with their parents' supervision. And it's a cool water spray that never gets shut off, and they can stay there as long as they want without the risk of getting hit by a car.
With the spray fountains, we've been able to deal with that in the summer. We don't have as many open fire hydrants as we used to.
That's correct. It's really improving, right? The spray fountains.
And what else during the hot summer months should we look out for?
Well, during the hot summer months, it's important to not overexert yourself as far as when you're at a cookout or a barbecue. If you've got a way to keep cool, I recommend it. If you can get to the parks are a great way to enjoy the city and everyone, and not be overcrowded on the street corners or near the streets. It's just a good practice for everybody to keep.
Now, we have some new types of fire hydrants as well.
Yes, sir.
And they're throughout the city. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
That's true, Mayor. Actually, the new hydrants that you're seeing throughout the city are part of our country's Homeland Security Initiative. We're getting those in slowly as hydrants need replaced or due to new construction, and that is part of our Homeland Security efforts to protect our city from terrorism, and also to prevent non-fire department personnel from opening the hydrants and using them for water. Our eventual goal is to get them all over the city as the old hydrants are replaced. And the major benefit of that is it will prevent children from using the hydrants for cooling off purposes and keep them safe. And equally important, it will help the fire department, because when open fire hydrants are left unattended, it lowers the volume of water available for firefighting. And that's not good in the hot summer months, because there's more of a demand for water. With these new tamper-proof hydrants, we can ensure that all the water is where it's needed and in safekeeping for when the fire department needs it, in case there ever is a house fire.